How's it going?
Things are going pretty well. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. But it is true, what Kid Cadet says, is that if you guys want to be honest and thorough and entertaining, leave the phones down. Because I can give, like, baseball answers. I can give Tiger Woods type answers. You know, I just want to hit the golf ball, fella. So we wanted to have fun, and then, yeah. But I was in Northern Ireland, and I gave an honest answer, and it showed up, and it was not a good thing, you know. And so I'd rather not. I come here to have fun, see people, make some money, not to create internet controversy. So.
And that being said, at the end, we are going to take a big picture together, so we'll get our pictures in and stuff then.
Yeah.
So, Mick, this week. Dark Side of the Ring. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that?
Yeah, show of hands if anybody saw Dark Side of the Ring. It's good, man. It's really good. I'm usually tough on my own body of work, but I was really happy with that. They kicked off their season premiere with a really deep dive into the famous cell match. And I have to tell you what happened yesterday is that how many of you have been to see William Shatner since you were here? You know, like Bill Shatner, he's one of the biggest draws in the entire convention world. And so I see him every 3-4 times a year, but hi, Bill, how you doing? He just, hi, never gave me any indication he knew my name. But yet I was on an airplane and I watched his documentary and I really liked it. And I want to go out of my way to tell him not only that I liked it, but why I liked it. And I said, excuse me, Bill, I really enjoyed your documentary. And he goes, I love Dark Side of the Ring. And I said, yeah, I just had an episode. He's like, I know, I saw it. When the Undertaker threw you off the top. And all of a sudden I realized I came here to talk to Bill Shatner about his job. And now he's talking to me about my job. So I said to somebody, like, this is really a shame that it's not being recorded. And then they recorded the conversation. So if Bill Shatner is a fan, I think you guys should be fans, so yeah. But they did a really nice job, and people might say, why would you volunteer to be something that's going to uncover a dark side of something? The dark side of that match is asking over the years whether the stuff I did was worth it, you know? And but some of you have seen I'm looking a little slimmer these days, right? Had my hip and knee replaced in 2017, yeah. I'm doing better than people predicted I would be doing, which is a good thing. Okay, thanks.
And not only that, you're going back on the road, going back on tour.
I am, yeah.
What is your favorite thing about going to these different shows and getting to share these stories?
Well, the beautiful thing about doing these Comic Cons is, WWE, to their credit, I guess it's to their credit, they don't put their superstars in a situation where they'll never have anything but a full line, right? I understand that, but I'm 59 years old, okay? I don't need a long line to have fun or to remind me that I was somebody because all of you let me know. And so I like the idea of being here for 4 straight days because it gives me a chance to interact in a way that I can't at my own one-man shows. I love doing those shows. But as far as the interactions, you just don't have the time where you're trying to get through 100 people in 90 minutes. You don't have the time. All the VIP people get the meet and greet. But there was been a few people, and I don't want to embarrass anyone, but one young lady came up to share her story, and it was about how much she loved watching WWE and me with her parents, and she broke into tears, and I was able to be there and give her a big hug and just hold her until she stopped, because I could feel her shaking. And I held her until she stopped shaking, kind of like Mandy did with Barry Manilow back in the day. And then he sent her away anyway, which I've never understood. But that's the Dark Side of the Ring for you. It's really good. It is a deep dive. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. And I love the fact that my family is in it quite a bit. It's really good. It's really good.
Well, since we already have friends lined up, should we go to
let's go. This gentleman, he camped out 2 days ago. I saw him with a sleeping bag right there, and now he's first.
What's your name?
It doesn't matter what your name.
Oh, come on!
Got him.
Mick.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Mick Foley, I'm sorry, this is my first time.
It's okay. It's all right.
Mick Foley, do love Cactus Jack. You made your name in yourself in TNA, WWE, and ECW. And that leads to my question. Which one did you have more fun working at, WWE?
Oh, WWE, ECW, or TNA? You know what's fun?
What?
Making money.
Yep, that's the right answer.
And I made a lot more of it in WWE than I did anywhere else. And also, was frustrated. I loved ECW, right? And I really enjoyed TNA for the first year I was there. And then they kind of, I came in as the non-wrestling, authority figure who did the talking. And then Dixie, doing what she thought, Dixie Carter doing what she thought was best for the company, hired Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff. Not saying they're not great hires, but for me, it just meant that, there's 3 other guys doing exactly what I came in to do. And it just wasn't as much fun anymore. But I did love the freedom WWE gave me. They kind of let me build that Mankind character all on my own. Turned out it was a character that was supposed to fail, and it did not fail.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lesson to be learned, and, you believe in yourself. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you're the only one. There's a song by Bob Dylan that says, don't trust me to show you beauty. My beauty may only turn to rust. If you want somebody to trust yourself. Is that pretty cool? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, you got it, buddy.
Great question. Hey.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello.
This is my dog,
All right.
Rizzo. I'm Pat. My question is super serious. I really need to know the answer. Which mouth was it your favorite mouth to put a sock in?
Ooh. I sense you're trying to get something homoerotic out of me. And that's
I would
not
never
even
do
happen.
that.
I didn't even know socks had another use. I didn't. That would hit me as news. But I'd say,
So many, right?
oh, yeah, you know what? I got this amazing, how many young kids out here?
What do you consider young?
8, 9, 10, younger.
Their parents brought them. They know what they're
Okay.
into.
You're going to learn today.
Well, let's just say it's a given that I do some work for the North Pole, right? And so every year I help make sure that a video gets through to the Johnson family. And the video was 4.5 minutes long. And 10 minutes after I send it, I get a 3.5 minute voice message, which means he had to have recorded that like the moment he saw the thing. And The Rock gives me this, he starts talking, Mick, my brother is Rock, Jazzy's 9, T is 7. So this is the good stuff. Continue to make this season magical, my friend. And then he starts just segueing into all the fun we had. And I knew exactly where he was going. He goes, I don't remember if it was Wheeling or Charleston. He knew it was West Virginia. He had told me that one of the most amazing things he'd seen in college football, even though his team had lost to West Virginia, was listening to 75,000 people sing Country Roads, Take Me Home. So The Rock pounded on me a little bit, boom, 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 and then he picks up the microphone in West Virginia and he said, Country roads, he's got that good voice, right? Take me home to the place Rock belongs. And there's the sock in his mouth. And then The Rock goes, and the people actually booed. They booed. And then you thinking you picked up that microphone and went, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. And I think Rock sold it the best. And it got such a great reaction because we had this ongoing thing where we actually would say publicly that he would claim Mr. Sacco was the worst move in wrestling history. I would say the people's elbow was the worst move. And we would both claim that we wouldn't sell it. Like we would actually say, I'm not selling that move. And Rock's go, I'm not selling that super sock. And yet, when it came down to the match, no one sold the sock better. And you better believe I sold the heck out of that people's elbow, you know? But it was just so much. It was so much fun, but that was probably my favorite. He was my favorite to put the sock on.
Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Hello there.
What's your name?
My name's Carrie. What is your, of the faces of Foley, which one's your favorite?
Again, I have to go to Cactus Jack. Was amazing, pure. He would have as good a match as he could in Polka, West Virginia, in front of 26 fans. He didn't make a lot of money. All right? He had a couple of low $100,000 years, six-figure years. And then you have to go with the one, you know, the one that brought you to the dance. Mankind was probably the most fun because after the cell match, when I realized I had to start connecting with people in a different way, I just thought, man, there is a lane that's wide open for somebody trying something a little nicer. Because nobody wanted to be nice. Everybody saw Stone Cold Steve Austin as the top babyface, and they were like, well, if that's what he's doing, I'm going to do something like that. And so, yeah, you had a lot of very aggressive baby faces who were very heelish in some ways. And I just thought, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance that there are more of me out there, meaning big, giant nerds, than there are them being the cool people they thought made up our audience but don't. And I took a gamble that I could connect with people and didn't realize that what I was doing was I was actually connecting with a lot of people who felt like they didn't fit in. And they see someone else who didn't look like they fit in, finding a way to do that, and that was encouraging to a lot of people. So Mankind was my favorite for that reason.
Yeah, Mankind was my favorite for the reason you said the person who doesn't fit in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and you know what's beautiful about these conventions? It's like the island of misfit toys here, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you have a lot of people who probably were told that there was something odd about them, something different, and then we all get together and we celebrate the things that make us different, right? I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Hey. What's your name?
My name is Miles, and it's good to see you again, Mick Foley, after 2 years here at GalaxyCon Richmond.
Got it.
And the question is, what do you think was your greatest contribution to the Attitude Era?
Sex appeal. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Nobody had really made it big in the bear community until... No, I think my greatest contribution was opening people's eyes to the idea that one size doesn't fit all, you know, and it took several more years for that to transition to the women. You know, that they didn't all need to look the same, that, you know, that people would actually watch really talented women for reasons other than, you know, beauty. And, but I think that what I did is I opened up people's eyes to the idea that, you know, wrestlers and top guys, and especially WWE champions, didn't all have to look the same. So, you know, WWE loved big guys, giant guys, and they loved good physiques, and I really had neither. I was kind of trapped somewhere in the middle. I mean, I was 6'4" and 280 when I was in WWE. People didn't realize how tall I was, but I was still like a little guy compared to, you know, being in that Valley of the Giants. I didn't have a lot of power moves, so I had to just create my own style. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think just showing people that it was possible. Thank you for the question. All right.
Hey.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
What's your name?
Taylor.
Taylor, you want to get a little closer to the microphone?
You can also adjust it on the
Taylor.
side too.
How do you adjust
Yeah.
If you grab the thing on the side, you can pull it up or down. Or you can just tilt the mic down, whatever's easiest for you.
it? Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
What was your favorite match with the Undertaker?
You want me to say the one where he threw me off the top of the cell structure, right? I don't know if I can count it as my favorite when I don't actually remember some of it. But that was the most important that we had. It's hard to say what my favorite match was, but I can tell you my favorite moment, and it occurred on a nightly basis. It's when the Undertaker's, that gong would go off, and the lights would go down, and Paul Bearer would roll up his jacket sleeve, and he would show me that all the hairs on his arm were standing up, and then I would show him all the hairs on my arm were standing up. And it's pretty incredible that every single night you feel that way, and you get to realize that you're part of something special. And so every night was fun. Every night was a little bit different. And I mean, maybe it was the night where Paul Bearer, he wasn't talking to me, and it was what's known as a house show, spot show, and it wasn't a very big venue. He wasn't even opening his mouth, and I didn't know what he was doing, and all of a sudden he opened his mouth, he had his back turned towards me, and the Undertaker held his stomach like he'd been hit with an elephant gun, and what Paul Bearer had done, he's opened his mouth, stuck out his tongue, and he had a slice of cucumber on it. And cucumber is the Undertaker's kryptonite. I don't know what happened in his childhood that made him weak to cucumbers, but I have to tell you, if a couple thousand people show up with cucumbers at WrestleMania, there's not going to be a victory for the Undertaker, right? So that, you know, that was a really fun night. That was a fun night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Taylor.
Hey, what's your name?
Hey, my name's John.
Hey, John.
I was wondering which match was the hardest on your body out of all.
Ooh. Well, the cell was really hard. That night 31 years ago when I lost my ear in Munich, Germany, was no day at the beach. And also maybe the match for the, it was called the Kawasaki Dream Tournament at the time. Now it's known in wrestling lore as the King of the Death Match Tournament. That was a long, long day. I mean, that was a long day. And I was really battered, and then I had to fly home the next day. And I mean, it was I love the surreal nature of professional wrestling. Because first of all, no other sport are they going to be playing somebody's music and find out they're late because they're selling Polaroid photos at the gimmick table. Like, you're not going to see that. Like, Super Bowl, we're expecting Mahomes in. Wait, we got word. He's selling autographs out at the gimmick table, you know. So you come in, you know, from the gimmick table. I've got coins and bills sticking out of my cowboy boot. And then I've got to defeat Terry Gordy in a match with a barbed wire bat and 10,000 thumbtacks in a box. And now I come back from that, and I find, even though it's 108 degrees outside, that nobody's put water, fruit juice, anything, any type of beverage. So I go out into the crowd to try to get somebody to get me something to drink, and they take on the role of extras in a horror movie, where they all start running from you. And I'm like, no, kudasai, please, skoshi, you know, whatever I want. And so it was really just a series of very strange moments, but I really appreciated it.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Hello, my friend.
My name's Levi.
Hello,
and
Levi.
My question for you is, what does it feel like to be hit with barbed wire?
Ooh, what does it feel like to be hit with barbed wire? This is where I'm going to hit you with some mathematical realities, okay? You get hit with 1,000 barbs, you're going to be okay. You get hit with one barb, you're not okay. All right? Like, one barb can catch you and tear you and do a number, but it'll give you 100 stitches like it did to Sabu if he got stitches. Instead, he super glued a 100-stitch catch. And he kept wrestling in that match. But the more you land on, the more you can disperse across your body. It's like the bed of nails. There's one of the burlesque dancers here does something with a bed of nails. And it's just like wrestling. And we were talking about it yesterday. That people don't realize if you land on 1,000 nails, 1,000 6-inch nails, you're going to be fine. If you land on one 6-inch nail, you're going to the hospital. So does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Barbed wire is really dangerous. When it's around a bat, it's not as dangerous. But when they take down the ring ropes and they string up the real barbed wire, you can get really seriously hurt. And a lot of people have, and I was one of them. And that's why I don't advocate that for anybody. Yeah. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Did you see the recent spot with Moxley?
I saw the thing with Well, no, I didn't. I heard about it, where it's sticking in his back and all that. Yeah.
Oh.
It sounded pretty cool to me.
Oh. What's your name?
I wonder where Moxley got that inspiration from, right?
Hey, Mick, I'm Chad.
Chad, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I saw you yesterday, right?
You saw me today, yeah,
Today,
about
yeah.
an hour ago.
Yeah.
I teach theater arts to kids in Richmond here, and
Okay.
I'm wondering, when I'm teaching them monologues, is there a promo from either you or someone else that you think would be a good promo to show them?
Yes. I would show them the Dusty Rhodes Hard Times promo.
Yeah.
Hard Times. You want to hear a little bit of it?
Yeah?
And I'll tell you why I love it. And part of the reason I love it is I admit I do not look like the athlete of the day supposed to look. My belly is just a little big. My hiney is just a little big. But, brother, I am bad. And they know I'm bad. There are two bad people in the history of this world. One of them is John Wayne. He's dead, brother. The other one's right here, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. What I love about it is it's grammatically incorrect, factually incorrect, because if there was a list of bad people in the history of the world, I don't think John Wayne makes it, like American actor. I don't think he's on there. But despite the factual incorrections, grammatical imperfections, you could not assign a team of 100 writers to come up with something that profound. It probably just came from the top of his head, and that's the art form. Now, that doesn't mean someone else can't get to the finish line a very different way by memorizing word for word something that they've written for him. But I like the people that go out there and create. And sometimes when you go out there and you take a chance and you create, you fall on your butt, you strike out. But I grew up a huge baseball fan. And you show me a guy who hits towering home runs, I'll show you a guy who also strikes out quite a bit, And I didn't get into wrestling to single up the middle, I got into wrestling to hit a ball into the twilight sky, and just watch it go. And you don't do it all the time, but every once in a while when you hit that home run, figuratively speaking, it's a thing of beauty.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
And I was going to say for you, Mick, Mankind promo about eating the worms.
Oh, the Mankind yeah, that was pretty good too. Do you want to see me transform into Mankind? So we're going to pick this scenario up when I'm 10th grade, doing my hurdler stretches, and some of the people on the playground or on the team start throwing worms at me. Jim Ross was interviewing me. No, I'm not there yet. I don't think it's going to happen today. They were throwing worms at me, Jimmy. Little wriggly worms. And what was I going to do? Throw them back? It wasn't a matter of them injuring me. They were injuring my pride. So you know what I did? I took the biggest worm that I could find, and I sucked it down. Do you think I got many dates after that? Do you think that there were girls who wanted to kiss a boy who had worms on his breath? I was a good kisser, but I never got the chance. What was I going to do? Practice on a pillow? Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Mick, how you doing?
How you doing?
All right, I'm Matt. Wrote the question down because otherwise I'd started through it.
That's okay.
Given how long you've been in the industry and your first-hand experience as a hardcore legend, what is something that you feel the current generation of wrestlers is doing right when it comes to health and safety? And what do you see in this generation that is worrying you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're doing a lot of things right. Health and safety. That match, I really encourage people to watch that episode of Beyond Dark Side of the Ring, because we talk about the differences that have taken place, where even though it did benefit me, that we didn't stop matches, that we bought time in 1998. Now when someone's unconscious, you stop the match, right? That's the right thing. It used to be if somebody got a concussion and wanted to miss a day of wrestling, they were thought to be cowards. The truth is, it takes more courage to admit when you're hurt than to pretend when you're not. And so now it's really important what they're doing, and they've got the protocol, and somebody can go in and take what's known as the impact test, which is, gauging how sharp you are before, and then you can take it after you've had a potential head injury to see how far off you are from your baseline. That stuff's really important. Guys are not just taping up, tears and things like that. People aren't self-medicating like they used to back in my day. The only thing that worries, the thing that worries me, AEW, honestly, I just think they need more structure. I think they need more long-term planning because they've got a massive roster of really talented people, and only about 1/10 of them really are involved in storylines. So that worries me a little bit because a strong AEW is the best, that's the best friend that a WWE wrestler can have. Really, the salaries are up, and that's a big part of the reason why. But what concerns me is that fans have come to believe that there's only one way to have a great match. And I think so you tend to get a feeling of sameness. No matter how many great matches you're watching, you're like, okay, now we hit the big moves that people are kicking out of, and we have to try to get the "this is awesome" thing. I look back to the Mind Games match I with Shawn Michaels, which was one of my best. There's really only 3 or 4 false finishes in it. And so we were able to achieve something great without having that standard type of match. But that's what worries me is fans have come to believe, because we've conditioned them that there's only one way to have a great match.
Appreciate
That's my
it,
worry.
Mick.
You got it.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
Look at him. He's rocking that
Okay.
mic.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Max, and my question is, why did you create your 3 forms, Mankind, Mick Foley, which is your original form right now, and Dude Love?
Royalties. No, I listen, I was, so when I got to WWE in 1996, I did not know this at the time because they gave me some profound reason why this mask was going to be, I'd be wearing this mask. The truth is, Mr. McMahon only agreed to bring me into the company if he could cover up my face. That was the secret of Mankind. But we made it work. And then Mr. McMahon came to find out that I had invented a make-believe character of Dude Love when I was 18 years old. And then he grudgingly came to accept that there were Cactus Jack fans out there. And one thing to his credit, he'll admit when he's wrong. He's not going to just out of pride not push somebody that the fans are enjoying seeing. And he wanted to make that dream come true for me. And so we had all 3 characters kind of working simultaneously. I want to say, when it's talking about royalties, I'm really going to hit up the Pops people because I believe what all of you really want out there is a Toph and Boulder 2-pack.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Avatar.
I was the Boulder. And now that Toph and I have become good friends in real life, we would gladly sign those things. We would do double signings. It would be so cool. And then I'd be the first wrestler to have 5 pops. 5 pops is more than Al Snow received in his entire career. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
That's my new favorite one. I like that. That was great. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Curtis.
Hello,
a quick
Curtis.
question for you. My father loved college wrestling. He loved high school wrestling. And I was watching the Gable Stevenson match
Yeah.
in Philly where he got beat, got taken down with 30 seconds left.
Was this just this year?
Yeah, you can watch
No,
it.
he went back to college
Yeah, he went back to Minnesota and wrestled his final year.
and he lost.
He lost his final match. I don't want to bore everybody, but the man wasn't even taken down. Didn't get taken down all year until the final match. Got taken down with the 30 seconds left, lost 5-4. And the whole place lost their minds. It looked like a WWE
Yeah.
crowd. Way the people were reacting about this. And I guess my question is, he got released from the WWE. What didn't translate? Because people were losing their mind when he's wrestling, but he didn't translate to
You know what?
WWE.
I didn't hear a real explanation, but some people just don't take to it. It's got a lot of aspects in professional wrestling that are the antithesis of amateur wrestling. You don't let people, for example, in boxing, somebody gets a black eye and they immediately put a pair of glasses on so nobody sees it. In wrestling, you get a black eye, you go over to your buddy and you tell him to give him a couple more give you a couple more whacks so that it will show better on TV, you know, like, so that's what we do, you know, like people are saying, oh, wrestling, that's fake, you know. Well, here's the difference, like, if you put wrestlers in barbed wire, we're going to try to find ways to creatively use that wire. If you put a real fight in barbed wire, they're going to stay as far away from that stuff as they possibly can. So in that sense, our stuff becomes more real. And there have been several MMA people who've gone into wrestling and say they're willing to, you know, Ken Shamrock, yeah, I got hurt far worse in WWE than I did in UFC. I don't know what didn't transition, but it wasn't like the rumbling you get but Kurt Angle, like, wow, this guy is a natural. Nobody's taken to wrestling this quickly. And with Gable, it was just like, no, he's not ready, not ready, not ready. I don't know what didn't translate. I don't know what it was. I actually saw the Gable-Stevenson match going on, but I didn't know he had any eligibility. I thought it was from a few years ago.
No, he had one more year left, so
Okay.
he wrestled for Minnesota, and
Okay.
that's what. But I was just surprised at the fan reaction when he lost that college
Yeah.
match. The place just went bananas, and you're like, "Wow!"
Why didn't it? There was another guy that Kurt Angle defeated in the NCAA championships named Sylvester Turkai.
Right.
And so he was just a tiny bit, you know, less than Kurt Angle. And he was in the OVW program and it just didn't connect. And he was a big, scary looking guy. And he just didn't find a way to transition.
Just before I leave, I do agree with your Hard Knocks promo, how great that was. I also was reminded of the Paul Heyman promo after WrestleMania when the Undertaker got beat by Lesnar.
Yeah.
And he came in on that Monday, and the people were booing him. By the time he left, they were cheering him, and they were so confused because he was such a great promo.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mick, we got about 10 minutes left.
10 minutes, okay.
So far, no say yes to the dress questions.
No,
and that's
yeah.
all right.
Do you know the say yes to the dress story? I officiated Kid Cadet's wedding, and I got a call asking if I could join her to help her pick out her wedding dress, which was being filmed by Say Yes to the Dress. Because who better than a guy with no fashion sense to help you with the most important fashion choice of your life? But anyone raise your hands if you know what Say Yes to the Dress is, right? All right.
The crossover.
So you know Randy, like I'd never seen Randy before, but as soon as I saw him in action for like a minute, I was like, oh yeah, I know how to play off Randy. And I purposely brought the fanny pack, which is the faux pas of all faux pas in fashion. But I didn't mention anything. I didn't say, you see my fanny pack? Look at my fanny pack. I didn't say a word. And then they said, what's in that fanny pack, by the way? And now I'm like, okay, I've got them. I was like, what? My keys, my wallet, pair of underwear. And they went, you've got a pair of underwear? I said, it's a short trip. I'm only on the road for 4 days. And when we got to the wedding, you know, I've got my jacket and my tie, and they look at me and go like, where's the fanny pack? And I said, like, you think I should wear a fanny pack to officiate a wedding? And they went, I think people want to see the fanny pack. So I officiated in the fanny pack.
Yes.
And did a nice job, too. All
And
right.
thank you again.
Yeah.
Forever grateful.
You're welcome.
Hey, what's your name?
Hey, my name is Justin. So correct me if I'm wrong. It was the 1998 Royal Rumble where you are the first and only person to ever be an entrance, not once, two, but 3 times. How did that idea come about, and how did you feel knowing that Steve Austin was going to be the winner?
I did not know Steve was going to be the winner. I was fighting with everything I had, but it brings back bad memories for me because when my youngest son, Huey, was growing up, he became a huge wrestling fan, and he could not accept that someone who looked like his dad could have been one of those superheroes on TV. And so here comes Royal Rumble. He goes, Dad, were you ever in the Royal Rumble? And I was like, oh, I'm going to show him. I said, not only was I in it, I was in it 3 times in one night as 3 different characters. And without missing a beat, he just looks at me and says, and you still couldn't win?
Yeah, right.
But it was fun, you know. Like that's not something I would not have been so bold as to say I should be in it 3 times. I think it was a Vince Russo deal combined with Vince McMahon. But it was one of, the fact that all these years later, people remember as one of the best moments in Royal Rumble history is pretty cool. Hey, we've only got a few minutes, so this is something really interesting. The Guinness Book of World Record people are here, and I thought it'd be fun to create the world's largest conga line directly to my table.
After the panel?
After that, yeah. And you know what we're gonna do?
What?
What's a word to say? It was a panel. What's a good word, like a code word? Because if you come from here,
Bang,
and
bang.
we will give you 20% off your purchase at the table for the rest of today. If you say, it can't be bang bang, because that could be just a regular. If you say Al Snow rocks, Al Snow rocks, 20% off. Yeah, I mean, you might not be able to look yourself in the mirror when you get home. We have time for what? 2 more questions?
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes
you.
left. Yeah. We're going to rapid fire because we still got
Hey,
quite a
Mick,
few.
how's it going, man?
Good, thank you.
All right, so we know you had a couple injuries throughout your
Couple, yeah.
career. What would be the worst one in your opinion? that
Well,
you did?
I used to say it was tearing my abdominal muscle because I honestly thought I was shot or broke my, it felt like something snapped. And I didn't realize how bad a pulled muscle, especially, or torn muscle, especially in your abdomen area, where you can't really get around it. It's right in the middle of your body. But people can't really understand that kind of pain. And so I've just been going with losing my ear in Germany, which was definitely painful. And it's easier to understand because it's such a graphic injury. So I'm going to change my answer to losing my ear in Germany.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
thank
fair
you.
enough. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
What's your
Hey,
name?
Mick. Hey, Mick, I'm Thad.
Thad, yeah, I met you earlier.
Yes, thank you. I think part of your legacy was elevating many of your opponents to kind of a different level, more
Yeah.
hardcore level, namely like Undertaker, Triple H, Randy Orton, Edge. What was the rewarding part about being involved in those matches and just seeing them?
So when I was talking about people thinking there's only one way to have a great match, for me, the great match wasn't the goal. For me, it was advancing people was the goal. So if I finished a match and we tore the house down, but yet that guy was not any more valuable to the company than he was before we had our matches, then I would say that wasn't really a success. But when I had the big match with Randy Orton, Backlash, and I finally made it home after travel delays, I caught the red-eye flight. I threw up in the parking lot of a Tim Hortons. So I had my, head bounced around a little bit in that one. But when I finally made it back to my house and Raw was on, Randy Orton was introduced, and he was like a different human being to the people in that building, most of whom had seen the match. Like, he had a new aura of respect he didn't have. And then you see him go on to do so well. That's a great feeling. Like Edge was, to me, even when I wrestled him, he was the best performer in the business at that time, but he wasn't getting best performer in the business type of payoffs. And I think even, you have to be super tough to have competed in those table, ladders, and chairs matches. He still had a little bit of the, like the pretty boy aura label attached to him. And then when he survived that encounter, it was more the idea of surviving it, because you didn't just win, you survived it. And there was always a heavy price to pay for those big matches. And the fans knew that when someone paid that price, they'd really done something. So that was always my goal, to make someone more valuable. And sometimes you can do that by great matches, but sometimes you can't, So for me, it was always about the advancement and the storyline above the match quality. But in a perfect case scenario, you do both. Okay?
Thanks so much, Mick.
Thank you. This is the last question?
We have 2 more. I think we
Two
can wrap
more,
it. Or
two more.
Three,
Hey,
three
doing,
more.
Mick?
Yeah.
My
Good.
name is Paul. So as you said earlier with the tax spots, the closer they are, the less they hurt. When you're pulling them out, that's the worst painful. Now, after your bump and spot, the tax disperse, and the ref has to jump in there, do their count, 3, unless it's a kick out. So they're hitting those tacks with their arm when they're already dispersed. Do they ever pull you back in Gorilla or even backstage and be like, you just had to do a tax spot, didn't you, make?
The refs didn't, but Kane did. I dumped them out in our cell match, but we didn't actually use him as like a decoy. But yet here's the thing. anyone who's ever stepped on a Lego late at night and who has kids, that's a thumbtack, essentially, you know? If you were to step on 87 Legos, that's better than stepping on one, right? Exactly. And so all those tacks going in hundreds at a time, yeah, that hurts worse than one, but one hurts a lot.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
what
Kane landed, and he was, oh, Jack! Like,
every time I see the ref, I'm just like looking for him to swap him away.
ask Kane about the time one tack got in his palm. Yeah, it's eerie. It doesn't feel good.
Absolutely. Thank you
Doesn't
very much.
belong there. You got it.
All right, we're going to rapid fire through these last.
Much respect, much respect.
Thank you.
I am Trey Bourne, a.k.a. the OG, and I train with Ace Montana down. And my question is this, sir. I've been doing this for a little bit, and honestly, I got a lot of haters saying that, you know, I'm 48 years old. Come on, yo, the young guys is taking over. Do you think I should listen to those voices? With knowing that I come from the era of the Magnum TAs, the Dusty Rhodes, the Telly Blanchards, the Nikita Koloffs, the Rock and Roll Express, where showmanship and story was key in this business, and I love that so much. So should I listen to those voices and put this away because I'm 48?
All right, hold on. These voices, how many of those voices come from somebody who has won a WWE title? Not to mention 3 times. So let me see if I can use my voice to ask you, are you having fun wrestling?
Yes, sir. You know as well as I know that it's a passion, it's a high that you can never get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because especially if you have a love for it.
Yeah. Look, I don't curse, but if I did curse, I would say F those guys, you know? Just listen to yourself. Yeah. Nothing wrong with being a part-time superhero.
I knew the answer.
Yeah.
Because the OG will exist. As long as he gives me the ability to
That's right, brother.
what I do in the ring.
Yeah.
There's no reason
You
for
don't
me
have
to stop.
to, look, you don't have to make it to the top of anything to enjoy yourself.
No,
you know?
I'm living my dream.
Yeah.
I'm following my
That's what I
dream.
told, you know, there will be some people who go, if you're not in it to be the best in the world, you ought to get out of it. And my feeling is, no, like you can have an amazing experience, not just in wrestling, but in life by just trying your best. And not everybody, the worst thing to be is the guy sitting on his couch 10 years after the fact saying, what if, what if?
The window wasn't there for me.
Yeah.
Early, I didn't know it existed. Ace Montana opened a window so late. I was 30, 39?
Well, listen, you know who you should draw inspiration from? Diamond Dallas Page, who broke into the business when he was 62 years old.
That's what I was. That's what I was. That was the joke in my class because obviously everyone else in my class is younger. They're 20s. They're, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's why the OG.
Yeah,
Hence.
you're the OG, man.
So, yeah.
Do your thing, brother.
I appreciate it.
All right, you got it. All right, we're at time, but we are going to take how many more questions? Rapid fire. Three questions.
Rapid fire. What's your name?
Real quick, non-wrestling question. What is your favorite roller coaster at King's Dominion?
At King's Dominion, you know what? I did go there in '99. You were there when a Big Boss Man, I said I caught Big Boss Man on the kids coaster, and he was throwing up, and he was like, hey, no, I ate something, what didn't agree with me, I was already, just silly stuff, you know? I can't remember, I had a couple of the King's Dominion coasters on my list in 2001, but I haven't been there since 2000. I don't really know what the names of the coasters are anymore. Yeah, sorry, man, sorry.
What's your name?
Hey, my name is Zach. What's up, man?
The Hurler.
That's
They
right.
Still have the Hurler?
Hey, real quick, do you have any particular memories when you're here in Richmond of wrestling, maybe on Raw or?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
whatever?
I mean, the best match I had in Richmond was against Terry Funk in an Anything Goes match. Now, one of my best friends, going all the way back to middle school, I went out to eat with her and her husband 2 nights ago, lives in Richmond. I used to crash with them. But then Terry hit me with a chair, and the lip of the chair opened up the back of my skull to the tune of 27 stitches. So after I got stitched up, I always said, I don't think I'm going to make it tonight. And they're like, why not? I was like, I would get blood all over your pillows. So But that was the best match I had, and it was also a great episode because it was almost like the battle for Mick Foley's soul. I started out by saying, my dude love, that's the thing in my past. It's an embarrassment. My kids were watching. My cheek was all swollen up, and I swore I would never wear those tights again. And then I have the epic match with Terry. Mr. McMahon comes out with two women, neither of whom are my wife.
Yes, yep.
And he gives me the tights, and we're gleefully dancing together. I throw one of the women over my shoulder. It was like, wow, this guy had a chance to break from evil, and he made a conscious choice not to. It was that's good storytelling. And then Terry did a great job, and what was so great about it is we didn't do a match where we were 50-50 back and forth, 18 false finishes. I mean, it was a clean win and a dominant win, but it was only dominant because Terry had done all the Terry Funk stuff to build himself up so that when I beat Terry, I had really beaten somebody. But I didn't squeak over, he didn't slip on a banana peel. Like, it was a couple of big moves in a row, and he did the favor, and he did it well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Final question. Final question.
You've traveled a lot for cons or for wrestling. What's the silliest thing that's happened to you on the road? Like, just something ridiculous.
Let me hold on a second. The silliest thing that's happened on the road. Do you have an idea?
I mean, not silly, but I liked that you cruise out to like Jim Croce and some really good music.
Oh
but I don't know
yeah,
about
yeah.
silly.
Heather and I used to ride quite a bit. Yeah, she knows I love the Jim Croce. I don't think that's where she's going with it. Silliest thing I've seen on the road. You know what? Come to my table for the 20% off special, and I will have an answer for you. Okay? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, I really appreciate. I mean, I'm kind of joking. I don't want to put pressure on anyone, but it is fun when you're busy, you know. And I put a lot. I give a good.
And you have
signature.
Mankind over there, so you
I
might as well
have the
come-
Mankind mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you say Al Snow rocks, you get 20% off. So it's
Yeah.
not a bad little situation. Just don't go around and tell your friends, say Al Snow rocks, he'll give you 20% off.
Right.
All right? Okay.
Keep it here. And before we wrap it up, is it okay with you if we take a big group picture?
We can take a deep. Did I tell you, Heather, I simply cannot stop listening to the Carpenters? Yeah. Yesterday, once more, it makes me weep.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. So maybe learn that on the karaoke, okay?
Okay, done.
All right, okay.
I got you. So you guys can come up to the stage, just not on the stage.